Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Today we review a romance book. Let's get started.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited to dive into Valley Verify. It's such a captivating story. Blends, that glamorous world of fashion with the reality of Silicon Valley, that fast-paced, often,
Yeah,
cutthroat reality.
totally. And at the heart of it all is Zoe Zeng, our
Yes.
protagonist, this young, ambitious fashion journalist
Right.
working at Chic magazine in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And you could just tell from the beginning.
Oh,
She's
absolutely.
got big dreams, a strong sense of style.
Yeah, she's definitely in her element there, in that New York fashion scene.
Right.
But then she gets this job offer from FitPic,
Ooh,
this Silicon Valley fashion startup, and it really throws her for a loop.
that's a curveball for sure.
It is. They want her to kind of head up their marketing efforts.
It's a big opportunity.
Yes,
But you can just sense her hesitation.
totally.
It's like stepping into a whole new world.
A whole new world, yeah.
Even her close friends, Bjorn and Cassie,
Yes.
are a bit skeptical. They represent that classic, New York fashion perspective,
Mm-hmm.
wondering how Zoe's going to navigate this whole tech world.
Right. It's a valid concern for sure. The book really highlights this contrast
Yeah,
between these two industries.
totally.
On the one hand, you've got fashion, the creativity, artistry of it all.
Exactly.
And on the other, you have Silicon Valley with its data, focus on tech. It's
Yeah.
a completely different world.
For sure. And that culture clash, it becomes very apparent on her first day.
Oh, tell me about it.
At FitPic's Palo Alto office, she shows up looking stylish and polished,
Right.
only to find everyone else in,
Yeah.
jeans and T-shirts.
That classic Silicon Valley uniform.
Totally.
It's that classic, fish out of water scenario,
Yeah.
It sets the stage for some interesting observations about both worlds.
I agree.
And then we're introduced to the key players at FitPic,
Yeah.
Like Bill, the CEO, very charismatic,
Uh-huh.
and Lillian, the COO, who's much more nonsense.
Yeah.
Each of them really embodies those different aspects of Silicon Valley culture.
And as Zoe starts to, navigate this new environment,
Yeah.
we get these glimpses into the Silicon Valley lifestyle. Remember Bill's story about attending Burning Man
Yes.
and, casually networking with, Elon Musk?
Right.
It's wild.
It paints such a vivid picture
Yeah.
of that almost surreal world of Silicon Valley
Right.
where, you can just bump into someone and it leads to this huge opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating how the author uses these anecdotes,
Yeah.
to show how different business is done there, the connections that matter, even the way people socialize.
It's a different world.
It is a far cry from those fashion events and runway shows that Zoe is used to.
Exactly. And she starts to face these real challenges
Yeah.
when she dives into her work at FitPic, her initial marketing ideas,
Mm-hmm.
which, would have been spot on in New York.
Absolutely.
Everyone met with resistance.
It's not even just that the ideas are different. It's that,
Yeah.
they don't take her seriously.
Yeah.
She's this outsider, and she's got to prove herself in this tech-driven world.
Absolutely. And that leads to a lot of, frustration,
Oh, yeah.
self-doubt. She starts to question her decision to leave New York
Yeah.
and that familiar world of fashion.
It's tough, and being away from her friends doesn't help.
Right. It adds to that feeling of isolation.
For sure. It's relatable, for anyone who's ever felt like they were starting over
Yeah.
in a new place. Totally. But amidst all that, she forms this connection with Damien,
Right.
one of the talented engineers at FitPic.
He seems so quiet and reserved at first.
He does.
Such a contrast to Zoe,
Yes. Yeah.
with her outgoing personality.
Exactly, but they're drawn to each other.
Yeah.
And through their conversations, we start to see a different side of him.
I agree.
He opens up to her about his passion for writing,
I love that.
which is a little unexpected, right?
For sure.
Considering his background.
Yeah.
But it reminds us that people are more than their job titles.
Absolutely. And Damien's vulnerability, it encourages Zoe
Yes.
to share her own struggles.
Right.
And they find common ground,
They do in their creative passions.
even though they express them in these totally different ways.
Yeah. It's cool how it shows that, connections can pop up
Right.
in the most unexpected places.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the people who seem the most different
Yes.
can become the closest to us.
I agree. And as their connection deepens, it starts to impact their work too.
Totally.
So Zoe's developing this influencer marketing campaign,
Yeah.
the See Yourself campaign,
Right.
which aims to, promote inclusivity, diversity, and fashion.
It's a bold move,
It is.
Speaks to Zoe's desire to really make a difference. But she faces some pushback
Oh, of course.
from, those who just don't get it.
Right.
The whole importance of representation
Yeah.
in fashion. But Damian is so supportive.
Yeah.
He sees the value in Zoe's vision,
Mm-hmm.
encourages her to, keep pushing.
It's so important
It
to have
is.
those allies,
Absolutely.
especially in a new environment.
For
It gives you that confidence to, like, keep fighting for your ideas.
need that support,
Yeah.
especially when the campaign launches,
Like-
and it faces some bumps in the road.
Yeah, but ultimately,
Yeah.
it's a resounding success.
It is that positive reception, including this glowing review
Yeah.
from Rebecca Stiles,
Oh, right.
that prominent tech influencer.
Yeah,
It really validates Zoe,
Yeah.
her hard work, her understanding of the market,
right.
and it really puts FitPic on the map.
For sure.
Brings in new users, generates, all this positive media attention.
It's a turning point for her.
It is.
Like, she starts to feel like she's found her footing
Yeah.
in Silicon Valley,
Mm-hmm.
and that her voice is actually being heard.
Right.
It seems like things are finally falling into place.
Yeah, but, things rarely stay perfect,
Oh, I
right?
know.
In a story like this.
For sure.
So
What
then-
happens?
Well, FitPic decides to partner with Aisha Monroe,
Oh, wow.
a famous supermodel,
Okay.
to really expand their reach.
That's huge.
On the surface, it seems brilliant, right?
Yeah.
Aisha Monroe is, a big name in fashion,
Mhm.
could bring a ton of attention to FitPic.
Yeah, and Zoe's initially excited
Yeah.
about the partnership,
Mm-hmm.
but as things progress,
Yeah.
she starts to have these concerns.
Oh, like what?
She worries about, maintaining brand consistency
Yeah.
and ensuring the collaboration, like, aligns with their values.
It shows how much she's grown,
Yeah.
Understanding the whole, complexity of tech
Yeah.
and her commitment to, ethical practices.
Or she's not just thinking about the buzz.
No.
She's thinking about the long-term impact.
Exactly. And as she voices these concerns, we start to see a different side of Bill, because
Oh,
he's
no.
so focused on making FitPic, mainstream,
Mm-hmm.
that he's willing to overlook those, potential problems.
It's like a hint
Yeah.
that there might be
Mm-hmm.
a darker side to him.
A darker side to Bill's ambition.
Exactly.
And that kind of sets the stage for a big conflict.
Oh.
That will really test Zoe,
Oh, no.
her values and her resilience.
I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, it's like that classic setup, right? The ambitious CEO, blinded by success.
Yeah.
Willing to cut corners to reach the top.
Mm-hmm.
And Zoe is, she's caught right in the middle.
Right. And it's a real test
Yeah.
of her character. Does she go along with his plans, even if,
Right.
it means compromising her own values?
Yeah.
Or does she stand up for what she believes in, even if
Right.
it puts her career at risk?
It's that dilemma so many people face,
I agree.
especially in those high pressure work environments.
Right.
Do you play the game or do you risk becoming that outsider?
Yeah. And in Zoe's case, it's even more complicated.
It is.
By,
What?
her feelings for Damien.
Oh.
He becomes like her sounding board for her frustrations.
Yeah.
And you can see how their bond, strengthens as they navigate this.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic.
Right. Because Damien,
Yeah.
who seems so reserved at first,
Yeah, he really does.
becomes such a source of support for her.
He does. He encourages her to trust her instincts
Yeah.
and speak her mind, even when it's hard.
Which can be really tough.
It can.
Especially in that kind of environment.
Totally.
And that support is crucial
Yeah.
because things take a really dark turn.
Oh.
When Zoe uncovers some disturbing information,
Like what?
she discovers that Bill's been leaking this
Oh, no.
damaging information
Yeah.
to Valley Verified.
That gossip site.
Yeah, the one that covers the Silicon Valley scene in an attempt to sabotage a competitor.
It's a betrayal on so many levels.
Totally.
Not only is he being unethical, but he's also willing to
Right.
throw Zoe under the bus
Yeah.
to protect himself.
And he tries to manipulate her into taking the blame, playing on, her insecurities and her desire to succeed.
That's awful.
It is. And it's a real moment of truth for Zoe.
Yeah.
Because she realizes that, Bill is not who she thought he was.
Right.
And she has to face the reality of the situation.
She does.
Is she going to be complicit in this?
Yeah.
Or is she going to fight back?
Right.
And,
What happens?
she chooses to fight back.
Good for her.
She confronts Bill, refuses to be the scapegoat.
It's a risky move.
It is.
But it shows, her strength,
Yeah.
her sense of right and wrong.
And it's a turning point in the story.
It is.
Because it sets off this chain of events
Yeah.
that have a huge impact on both Zoe and FitPic.
Yeah. Bill feels threatened
Right.
by Zoe's defiance, and he tries to,
What does he do?
discredit her, undermine her position at the company.
It's like that classic tactic, to silence dissent,
Mhm.
maintain control.
Exactly.
But Zoe's not going to be silenced so easily.
No.
She knows the truth, and she's determined to expose him.
Right.
And this is where, her connection with Damien
Yeah.
becomes so important.
Yeah, why?
Because he believes her.
That's
And he uses his, tech skills
Right.
to help her gather evidence
Oh,
of
wow.
Bill's, unethical activities.
It's so cool how it shows that sometimes,
Yeah.
your most valuable allies are the ones who have different skills.
Right.
Different perspectives than you.
Totally.
Damien's tech expertise becomes essential in uncovering the truth.
It's like a perfect example of how, teamwork and collaboration can be such powerful forces for change.
Right. Zoe's understanding of fashion and her ethics combined with Damien's tech skills create this unstoppable force against Bill's manipulation.
I love that.
Yeah, and as they dig deeper, they realize that, Bill's manipulations run even deeper than they thought. His whole image as a champion of women starts to fall apart.
Wow.
When they find evidence of his past behavior.
Right. It's like things aren't always what they seem.
Exactly. Especially in that world of tech and startups.
Where image is everything.
It is. It's carefully curated.
Totally.
And then, as all this is happening, Zoe gets another curveball.
Okay, what happens?
She's offered a job back in New York, a chance to go back to her comfort zone. Escape all the drama.
Yeah, it's tempting.
It is, especially with all of the stress she's under.
Yeah?
But she knows that, running away won't solve anything.
Right, she's come too far.
She has
fought too hard to just let Bill get away with it.
She has to stay.
Yeah.
Fight for what's right. It's the only way to move on.
Her decision is made even harder by her feelings for Damien.
Right.
Because he's become such an important part of her life.
He has.
And the thought of leaving him is,
it's tough.
Really painful.
Yeah, but their relationship has really evolved,
Right, from just a work connection.
Yeah, into something more.
Yeah, and the distance adds this whole other layer of complexity.
It does.
Can the connection survive a long-distance relationship?
Especially with all this turmoil.
Right.
It's a very real portrayal, of how our personal and professional lives get all tangled up.
Yeah, and how those relationships are tested.
They are.
When we face these tough choices.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Zoe's at this crossroads. Career uncertainty.
Right.
A complicated relationship. And this moral dilemma she can't ignore. It's a lot of them.
It is, but amidst all that, there's a glimmer of hope.
What's that?
Remember Rebecca Stiles?
Yeah.
The tech influencer who loved the See Yourself campaign?
Yeah.
Well, she's also known for, her investigative journalism.
Oh, right.
The one who breaks those big stories about tech.
Yes.
It turns out she's been working on a story about Bill.
Ooh,
digging into his past.
I bet this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah, this is where it all starts to unravel for Bill.
What does she find?
She uncovers this huge scandal from Bill's college days.
What?
He created this app called Chic.
Okay.
Basically a platform for,
For what?
rating and objectifying women.
Oh my gosh. That's terrible.
Right.
And so hypocritical.
It is. It completely contradicts his whole image of supporting women.
It's like
total opposite.
The story goes viral and, FitPic is thrown into chaos.
Oh, no.
Investors get spooked. The company's reputation tanks. It's like that saying, right? The higher they climb, the corner they fall.
Exactly. And Bill, of course, denies everything, tries to control the story.
Of course he does.
Even threatens Zoe.
Oh, no.
Minding her, how powerful he is.
That's awful.
But Zoe, she's not backing down.
Good for her.
She knows the truth, and she's determined to,
To what?
see justice done.
Yeah.
But to really expose him, she needs solid proof.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Remember how Zoe had befriended Bernadette?
Yeah, who was connected to Lillian.
Right, through her fiancé's cousin.
It's a small world.
It really is. Well, turns out Bernadette's fiancé's college friend, Tristan, went to college with Bill.
Oh, wow.
And he has proof, emails that show Bill created Chic.
Wow.
And all his, misogynistic views.
That's huge.
It really is like a piece of the puzzle falling into place.
At just the right time.
Exactly. So Zoe, with this evidence, goes to Lillian and Kira White.
Wow, Kira White.
I know, right?
That's a big deal.
It is. She's a powerful board member.
Right.
Fashion icon.
I can only imagine how intimidating that must have been.
Oh, it was a huge moment. But Kira, to her credit, takes Zoe seriously.
Okay.
She's appalled by Bill, recognizing that, his behavior is bad for her and her organization that supports women entrepreneurs.
So what happens?
Kira uses her power to launch an investigation.
Okay.
The truth comes out, and Bill
Yeah.
is forced to resign.
It's a satisfying
It is.
moment of justice.
Right. Bill's facade just crumbles.
Yeah.
His manipulations are finally exposed.
And it really shows Zoe's courage.
It does.
And perseverance. She refused to be silenced.
Yeah.
And her actions made a real difference.
Yeah, they really did.
What about Zoe, though?
Yeah.
Where does she end up?
Well, remember that job offer in New York?
Oh, yeah, the one that seemed like an escape.
Oh, right. She decides to go back.
Oh, okay.
But not to run away.
Right.
She goes empowered,
Yeah, right.
ready to use her Silicon Valley experience to make a difference in fashion.
Okay. And Damien?
Their relationship,
Yeah.
it's tough with the distance, but they care about each other.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to make it work. The book ends with them, starting that long-distance relationship full of hope and understanding of how complicated it all is.
Right.
Ambition, ethics, love
Yeah.
in these crazy demanding industries.
Wow, what a journey.
It is, right?
Zoe's story is so inspiring.
Yeah.
Standing up for what's right, even when it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows that
It does.
you can find your voice, make a difference, even in those tough industries.
It's a great reminder.
Yeah. Valley Verified is just, it's such a good read.
It is.
Because it explores such important themes.
It does. Female empowerment, ethics in tech, finding your voice.
Absolutely. Well, this has been an awesome deep dive.
It has.
I love talking about this book.
Me too.
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge, spread the word. 2022-5.